Hello all and welcome to Fergie time at fantasyfootballhub.co.uk with the Game Week 70 deadline just 1 hour and 15 minutes away, which I've never said before, but as we know, the deadline has changed this evening due to the postponement of the Brentford versus Man United game. If you haven't heard, you better make some plans, but I'm sure the vast majority of you have heard. My name is Fergie, and for any new watchers, you are very, very welcome. If you haven't subscribed to us yet, please press the subscribe button in the bottom right-hand corner of the screen and press the like button if you enjoy our content. If you have any A or B dilemmas, please post them in the chat and I will try my best to answer as many as I can, and I will also show my own team too during the stream. Good evening to everyone on stream this evening. Rohit, evening Fergie. Should I sell or hold Ronaldo? One free transfer. Is Watkins a good option? My goodness, I hosted a Twitter Spaces earlier. We talked about this for absolutely ages. I think we came to the conclusion. So I think with Ronaldo, and I know this is probably going to be a popular question, so I'll just try and get onto Ronaldo now. And answer it from my perspective. Okay, so we don't know what's going to happen next game week. Man United are home to Brighton in game week 18 on Saturday lunchtime, and there is space next midweek to fit that in if that game is postponed as well. Not saying that is what will happen, but there is the potential for that, as per Ben Crellin, obviously the fixture genius. So for me, with that, I think, looking at Adam Hopcroft's team earlier, just as an example. So he's got a play-in 10 or 11, and he's got Ronaldo as well. So I think in Adam's view, if you've got a play-in 10 or 11 players, and then and you can get out a decent team without getting rid of Ronaldo, I think I would hold on to Ronaldo. However, if your team is decimated, as we've seen so many teams decimated, those who've got 2 or 3 Man United, maybe some, Brentford players like Livramento and players like this. If your team is decimated and you're down to kind of 7 or 8 players, I would consider personally getting rid of Ronaldo. The thing with Ronaldo, I think, is he's not a captaincy option really for the upcoming weeks. And even when Salah's off to AFCON, he's not really an option then unless Salah leaves a bit earlier than expected. So I just don't see the benefit in holding Ronaldo above having a very, very strong squad over the coming 6, 7, 8 game weeks. So that is my summary and conclusion on Ronaldo. If you can get a good team out with him, hold him, I think. If you can't, I think sell and spread the cash personally. I've made a very controversial transfer today, which won't go down with the FPL purists. Well, I'll reveal my team in a little bit, but strange time call for strange measures, and that is what I've done. So hopefully that has answered the question on Ronaldo. I'm sure I'll have to repeat it in 10 or 15 minutes when further people join the stream. Joe Humphrey will release his team. I'm not sure. It's with the turnaround, Joe. It's just absolutely crazy. In terms of trying to get this content out. I'm sure if he will, it will be out obviously in the next hour. I really, I'm not sure about that, Joe. Keep an eye on his Twitter at FFH_Will. I'm sure he'll post it on there regardless. Liam Martin, good evening, Liam. Good evening, Johnny A. Has Ben Dinnery wazzed on your chips again? Well, I know it sounds a bit sick, but I'll tell you a secret. I kind of enjoy this chaos. I enjoy the FPL chaos, just because I find it. Obviously, I'm using this in the context of fantasy football and nothing to do with COVID, nothing to do with kind of real life, just with the purpose of fantasy football. I love the chaos because I just think it's just great fun. Everyone's teams are shambles. My own team is a shambles, and just kind of wading through it all, having all the conversations we've had today. It's just been absolutely fantastic fun, and that to me is what FPL is kind of all about anyway. So I secretly enjoy the chaos, but don't tell anyone. Sir Nakbeek says, I sold Ronaldo and bought Pookie. I don't blame you. Pookie's stats have been really good. I think he's been a bit unfortunate, but I don't hate that move. I've got to be honest. Stefan Al, triple captain Watkins, let's go. Stefan, I would love to have a swig of what you've been drinking. Triple captain Watkins, I can't, he's hardly been pulling up trees. I can see, he's quite a popular move in this week for Ronaldo. I don't get it myself. I might be wrong. Next two fixtures, Norwich and Burnley. I think if you were targeting those a month ago, I think it's fair. But both teams have been pretty decent defensively. Norwich should have beaten Man United on the weekend, and Burnley on the weekend held West Ham to a 0-0 draw. I don't really get it myself. I'm sure he might get a return or maybe two over the two games, but I'm just not as convinced as others there. And Key to Swiftiness says, hold on. Vivek, he has one tree transfer and need 11 players, got 10 right now. I wouldn't worry about that, Vivek. There will be a lot of players with a lot worse teams than you, I can assure you. There will be teams with 8-9 players this week, so I wouldn't be obsessed with getting out 11 players unless you're making long-term moves personally. But he says, choose Duffy to cash target Young or Mbomo to Gallagher. I think I would be tempted to go Duffy to Cash. I like that move. I like Cash as a player, and the reason is Mbomo is still a starting player for Brentford, whereas as Duffy is kind of he's kind of in and out of that Brighton team, and I think he's suspended this week as well. So, and I think Brighton without potentially Dunk, without Webster, maybe without Sanchez, we don't know. I don't fancy Brighton's clean sheet chances as much as I did, so I would go to Cash there, and as certain be confirmed United game is postponed. Just in case anyone hasn't heard, Man United versus Brentford was postponed. I think it was 10-12 last night. It was confirmed, so look at your teams and make some plans. Liam says, Game Week 18, sell Smith Rowe for Bowen. Would that be a good transfer, Fergie? He didn't start, potentially out this week. It potentially doesn't even get his place back. I would say he's been fantastic, but Arsenal played incredibly well on the weekend. Bowen, so I've brought in Bowen this week as well. Spoiler alert, I have brought in Bowen. I'm not convinced on him, and I'm not sure with that one, Liam. I personally think that one can wait a week. Just I've only do it because I'm doing it from Gilmore, and Gilmore, it's very unlikely that Gilmore is going to do anything, whereas Smith Rowe has been in great form. So Bowen against Arsenal is a tough fixture. I've just done it to try and it was a move I wanted to kind of do anyway. When I'm going from Gilmore, you're going from a proven FPL asset this season. I'd be a bit more reserved if I were you. But whichever you go for, I really, really hope it works out for you there. And Stefan skipped my exam final to be here. Are you mad, Stefan? Are you mad? Please don't let FPL and please don't let this stream be the reason that your career goes down the pan. I will try to get through as many questions as I possibly can. I'll reveal my team in 5 or so minutes. Monkey D Ben, Man City lineup leaked. I did see a leak earlier. I'm not sure how true it is, but I will just run through what I've seen. No idea if it's true or not. Please don't shoot the message if it turns out to be false. But from what I can remember, it was Edison, Walker, Zinchenko, Diaz, Laporte, De Bruyne, Rodri, Bernardo, Foden, Mahrez and Sterling. That was the leaked team I saw earlier on Twitter. I have no idea if it's right or not, but if you are thinking of bringing in Man City players, then that's what we've seen. But again, no idea if it's true or not. And just on that, Easy asks, hi Fergie, which City midfielder should I buy? It's a really tough one because it's classic. Well, I say it's not really kind of form versus stats. If you can afford it, I honestly would go for Sterling. I mentioned this last week. I think Sterling's a great shout at the moment. He's playing, really attacking. He's nailed at the moment. I think he's in. Well, I say he's nailed. He's in their best 11 at the moment. So I really think that Sterling is a great option for the next 3 games or so if you can afford him. I think after him, I think Bernardo for minutes, but I do think that Foden has potentially got more kind of attacking upside. So it's a tough one there. But I would go for Sterling if you can afford. I would go for him. Business Cat just on Matty Cash. Good point. That Matty Cash has 4 yellow cards. Beware, as does Gallagher, which is why I went for Bowen ahead of Gallagher. That was one of the factors as to why I went Bowen over Gallagher was the 4 yellows. Sana Kara, Madison or Foden. I really think in this next 3 that I would go for Foden. Maddison has looked fantastic. We're not, we don't know for sure that Leicester and Spurs is going to be on. I think at the moment it is on, but you never know what's going to happen with that, right? So I just think I go for Foden. City's next three. Apologies for my glasses today. They're slipping more. They're slipping more than normal. But City's next three: home to Leeds, away to Newcastle, home to Leicester, away to Brentford. Pretty good fixtures. Leicester's fixtures. They have Spurs away to Everton, which is decent, but then they've got City and Liverpool after that, which I don't really like. So I think over this Christmas period, I would be tempted to go for Foden more. Oliver Olsen, Pookie or Dennis? I think I'll go for Dennis. I just think you got to go for the form. As much last year, I tipped King last year. Last week, I went for King, over Dennis. Didn't work out last week, but. Like, we never pick these picks for 1 week, right? There's still, kind of 5 or 6, 7 weeks. And it does look like Dennis will probably be off to AFCON now that the Nigerian manager was sacked. So I go for Dennis or King over Pookie personally. But Pookie's stats have been very good recently. It depends whether you're a stats person or a kind of a form person. Good evening, Emma249. Best of luck for the game week to you too. Joe Thurger asks, I have Ronaldo, Antonio and King. Do I go Ronaldo to Watkins or Dennis, and also Mbeumo to Bernardo or Foden? Yeah, I like those moves, Joe. The only thing I would say is if you have got 10 or 11 out already, I'd be tempted to just leave it, but I do like those moves. I don't know who in terms of Watkins or Dennis or King or whoever it is. They're all just much of a muchness, I find, at the moment. It's hard to get really excited over any of them. Mahilo, should I play Brandon Williams? No bench, or go -4 to bring in someone instead of Dallo? I think you leave Dallo, Mahilo now. You brought him in. You've had a clean sheet out of him already. And he'll probably be back, if not next game week, definitely the week after. I think Dallo's a long-term hold. I'll be looking to bring in Dallo in a week or two, I think. No bench or go -4. I think against Villa, you can maybe get away with even just playing him this week. And, he's not... Unless you want to make a long-term move, unless you want to make a long-term move, I'd probably just leave it this week. But I'm not sure which kind of long-term move you would make at that price point. Maybe Soufal, 4.7. He's a good option. Other than that, I think you're struggling a little bit there. I think it's forcing it a little bit. I say that you haven't seen my team yet in terms of forcing it. You're gonna go mad. You're gonna go nuts. I've committed blasphemy in terms of what I've done with my team. Class. It's going to be so funny. Rabbi says, I bought DDG and CR7 for Kane and Sanchez in the previous week. Should I transfer from DDG, CR7 and Mbeumo to Martinez, Foden and Watkins for -8? That's so unfortunate, Rabbi. Oh, goodness me. You've had really, really hard luck there. That is such a tough one. I personally wouldn't get rid of De Gea there. I think you can get away with it. I think De Gea is a good long-term hold. With Ronaldo and Mbeumo, they're probably not good long-term holds. Personally speaking, I would rather spread the funds across the team. So I think I would personally maybe just do the -4, miss out on a keeper this week if you don't have one. Because I think that De Gea is a long-term hold. I think you're only doing that hit to bring in a keeper for maybe 1 week or 2 max. I don't think it's worth that. I think De Gea is a good hold. So that's what I would do, Ravi. But obviously completely up to you. Ro asks, Salah benched. Yeah, we don't know, do we, on Thursday? He normally has a rest. I think the only difference with this season to other seasons is that he will be off to AFCON soon. So I do wonder whether Klopp will just kind of, flog him all the way through until he goes to AFCON. But the thing is, anyway, even if Salah is benched, right, everyone is going to be on him. So the only question really is who to vice captain. And now at the moment, and this may sound a bit mad, but I've got my vice captain on Diogo Jota. And, a lot of advice today and yesterday has been, make sure you put your vice captain different from your captain. Different in terms of the team in case a game is called off. And it probably is a sensible idea to go for a Man City player. Now, if Cancelo was fit, I wouldn't have any issue whatsoever with putting Cancelo as my vice captain, as I have done, I think, the last kind of 2 or 3 weeks. However, this week, because he's banned, we don't really know who is going to play in midfield out of Bernardo and Foden and everyone else. I'm not a big fan of putting my vice captain on someone who I don't think will play. Now, I think that Jota plays because he was rested on the weekend. And another further argument, I think, to go with Jota, Salah is benched. It doesn't really matter if Salah is benched and comes on for a 1-pointer, right? Because his EO is going to be close to 200%. However, if he's benched and he doesn't come on, you're going to want a vice captain who has hopefully scored pretty decently, and I think that Jota has the chance to score pretty decently in his own right this week, which is why I've got my vice on Jota. So I am risking my vice captaincy by putting it. I'm risking it solely on that the game goes ahead. But I'm happy with that because I think the upside of that is potentially bigger than the upside of going with someone who doesn't even kind of start in terms of maybe Foden or Bernardo or something like that with Pep Roulette. So that is my rationale as to why I'm doing that. Call me mad. Call me mad if you like. I don't mind. I'm quite happy kind of playing my own game with this. Yves Fernandez, only have 9 playing players. Should I take a hit? I think Yves, I think it depends on who it is, because if you've got all the main players playing, if you've got like Salah captain, I think if you've got Jota, if you've got Trent, if you've got maybe a City mid, if you've got Dennis or King, if you've got Reece James, if you've got those players playing, you've got to ask yourself, do you really want to be taking hits, and are you going to get those hits paid back? Are you taking out players that are going to be are going to score big points in the next few weeks? So that's the question, I think, with the -4. So the 2 players I'm taking out this week, I'm taking out Foster, who is not going to score big points in the next few weeks. I'm taking out Gilmore, who is not going to score big points in the next few weeks. And I've replaced him with 2 players who I think could score big points, both in the short term and in the medium term as well. But, we will see. Jukebox likes the rationale with my vice captain. Thank goodness someone does. I'm not talking at a dross. Bradley just mentions on Salah. He's playing in the dead rubber UCL games, shows he won't be dropped. He's going for a record-breaking season of Ballon d'Or. Klopp would never take away his chance to start as that. So I do agree. I do agree with that. But the vice will at some point play quite a pivotal, part in a game week soon, I feel. And I think it's important just to take that extra bit of consideration to make sure that you're happy with your decision, and I'm happy with my decision there. Tunji asks, hi Fergie, would Foden start? Did Rashford to Foden already? I think he does start. He was on the bench last week, came on, thought he looked good. I think Foden hopefully starts 2 of the next 3, and I'm reasonably hopeful of a couple of returns as well. Quinn Barnett, will you show your team, please? Yes, I will. And just while we're on that, Steen asks about keepers. This is where it's interesting. So get Bachmann or spend more on Guaita as a second keeper with De Gea missing. Don't want to risk Sanchez. Well, let me show you what I've done with my keeper. This is going to be hilarious. I've committed blasphemy, but you know what? I'll explain my rationale now. So this is my team for this week. My overall rank, as you can see, is 216k. As you can see, I have a certain Mr. Ramsdale in goals, but if you look down to the bottom left-hand corner of the screen, I have a Mr. De Gea on my bench. So I am playing with 2 5 million keepers. I'll explain that a little bit more now. I've got Trent, James and Rudiger at the back. I have brought in Bowen for Gilmore. I have got Jota, Foden, Bernardo and Salah captain. And I've got Antonio and King up front. My bench is De Gea, Livramento, who I think has got maybe an outside chance of playing. Cancelo has no chance of playing. and Keenan Davis, who has very little chance of even a 1-pointer. But that is my team. So what I have done Foster to Ramsdale, and I have done Gilmore to Bowen. And my rationale with Ramsdale is that I think we haven't seen the end of this COVID situation by a long chalk. So if you go by the the government sort of advice, whether you want to or not, but they think that Omicron is going to reach its peak in the UK at the end of January, which is about 6 or 7 game weeks time. And by that point, these infections, so we had 42 Premier League infections yesterday, which is the highest since January, and it's just going to keep climbing, right? If it's going to reach its peak in January, it's going to keep climbing. I'm sure the Premier League and I'm sure the individual clubs will do all they can, but there will be postponements. I'm pretty sure of it. So at the moment, I've gone with the strategy. I didn't have Ronaldo, which made it easier, but I've gone with the strategy of basically trying to spread my funds as much as I can across my team to make sure I've got 15 good players. So I've got 14 at the moment. I've got Keenan Davis. I'm going to have a think next week based on what happens over the week. In terms of what to do or whether to just kind of leave it. But that is my team at the moment. As always, as I have been for nearly every game week this season, I look at that team and I think, oh my goodness, I'm so happy. There's loads of points in that team. But as is what happened, it all seems to transpire this season so far not to give me a good game week. But I look at this, team and I think I feel there's points there. So I'm quite excited again for the game week. Personally, I got away with not having Ronaldo. There'll be loads and loads of hits going. I think there'll be -4s, -8s. I think there'll be free hits. Just on free hit, briefly, in case anyone asks on that one, I don't think it's an optimal week to play it this week, just because we don't know what other games, if any, are going to be called off, and also the 2 games that have trying to predict Man City's and Chelsea's lineups is crazy. And the other good fixture this week is probably Man United. So I can't even see who you would target, if that makes sense. So anyway, that is my team. Hopefully it makes a bit of sense. Quinn Barnett asks, what do you think about Tierney? So I think he started the last one, didn't he? Got an assist. I think Tierney's a good shout, and Arsenal's fixtures do go on for quite a while. So after this week, West Ham, they go Leeds, Norwich, Wolves. They do have Man City then, and then Spurs, Burnley, Wolves. I think he's decent. I'm not sure. I don't know if any Arsenal fans have got kind of more insight into whether Tavares is much of a threat when Tierney is fit. The only thing with Tierney is he's so injury prone. He just seems to always be injured, and that's the problem with Tierney. Is I think you'll get some decent points off him when he's fit. But he's just not fit often enough for me. So I think he's probably a transfer waiting to happen. So I don't think I would. Just based on his injury record. Even this year, last year, he's just always injured. He's always injured. So I personally wouldn't. ZJ Wong, is it worth considering a Salah triple captain with a threat of COVID type fixture list? How realistic would players get to playing consecutive games for double game week or triple game weeks? I do get your argument, ZJ Wong, but I think you can also, there's a counter argument there that are we 100% sure that Salah is going to play this week? Is the Liverpool match going to go ahead this week? We're not, we think so, but Salah is due a benching. I don't think this week is the week to be playing any chips and hanging your hat on we think that this is going to happen. So Mohammed Mayad asked the same, is it okay to triple captain Salah this week against Newcastle? I would say, if you're an opportunist and you feel the time is right, go for it. I wouldn't go for it because I'm definitely going to wait for a double game week. And I take the point off ZJ Wong, and he's absolutely right that in previous seasons, the triple captainship has been incredibly underwhelming. However, I would also say that in previous seasons, when the title has gone down to the wire, which I think is going to this year, teams are playing their stronger teams for kind of longer. So I would do it. If we remember that Man City and Liverpool season when it was, what was it, 98 points and 97. They played their strongest teams right to the death. And this season, with the 3 teams that are up there, I can see at least 2 of those teams breaking away, and it being incredibly tight, and teams playing their strongest team all the way through till, the mid game week 30s as a minimum. So I personally think I would, I think there'll be better opportunities. However, go for it if you really want to go for it. If it excites you, I've done the Ramsdale move this week because it feels right for me. It feels good. I'm quite excited to have. I've had so much hard luck with goalkeepers this week. This season. So I wildcarded in Raya, who was then out for 5 months. I transferred him out for Sanchez, who had a red card. I've then brought in De Gea for a hit, whose team has now got COVID. So this is my 4th goalkeeper transfer this season. So I'm quite excited just to have Ramsdale and De Gea and not have to worry about that sodden flipping position in my team, which always kills me. Let's answer a few more questions. Victor, bench Bowen, Antonio, or King? I mean, Victor, I can't answer that, buddy. It's just an impossible question. I think if it was my team, I would probably bench King just because Burnley kept a clean sheet against West Ham. But honestly, he's such a tough one there. Maybe look at the odds. If you look at FPL Salah's Twitter, look at the odds on the lowest scoring player there, which I guess would either be Bowen or King. I'd probably play Antonio because I think he's due, but King. But it's such a tough one. Abdul Hai just asks if there's any team leak out for City team for tonight. If so, is Foden starting? I've seen a team. I don't know how true it is. It was just some random guy on Twitter, but it did have Foden starting. Make of that what you will. I really, really hope he does. I'd be excited if he did play. Ramaldinho. He's asking the transfers I've done. Yep, Gilmore to Bowen and De Gea to Ramsdale for -4. That is what I have done, buddy. So I'm going to try and stretch out my team and get a really solid 14 or 15 players, because in the current climate, I think that is probably. And I'll put my hand up and say I've changed my mind on this, because a couple of weeks ago I was maybe advocating get all your money on the pitch, even last week. But I think what we've seen in the last week or two now, with first the Spurs game and now the Man United game, is no game is safe. And I really, really think that getting a playing bench, and by a playing bench, I don't mean you have to have 14 or 15 fantastic players, just players who can come on and score. Scored a couple of points. I think there's enough value in the game. Players like Gallagher, Damari Gray. I'm looking at him soon, even though it looks like Townsend and Richarlison might be missing for a few weeks now. Everton are in trouble. Everton are in real trouble. But I think there are enough value players in the game, because the forwards aren't doing it. I think you can afford to really stretch those funds across your team. As Colin Bugler says, hit the like. If you're enjoying the stream, hit the like button. It would be much appreciated. Connor, man, at least Ronaldo means you're going to have 15 starting plays. And this is the thing, Connor, mentioned this last week, mentioned it on a Twitter Spaces earlier. With Ronaldo out, you can... It's either make the choice between have Ronaldo and a threadbare bench, or not have Ronaldo and have a nice 14 or 15. And for me, and it's purely because we're not going to captain Ronaldo, right? Because we're not going to captain Ronaldo, I think I'm a strong 14 or 15 is the way to go. Nadim Noor, we've had a few other people just ask about Mason Mount. I think he's a really good option at the moment. He's played 90 minutes the last 3 or 4 games. He seems to be, really on the team sheet, at the moment. And I would have no argument with doing Chelsea players. The only thing, with Mount, the only thing with Chelsea players, if you look at their fixtures for the next few games, obviously really nice fixture coming up against Everton. After that, it does get a bit tougher. That's the only thing I would say. So they're away to Wolves, and Wolves only conceded a goal apiece against Man City and Liverpool recently. Then they're away to Villa, who have really turned the corner. Then they're home to Brighton. Okay, that's good. But after that, they go Liverpool, Man City, Tottenham, and then blank. So that's the only thing I would say about Chelsea. I'm happy to hold on to my 2 at the moment, but I'm pretty sure in a couple of weeks I'm going to be looking to downgrade or switch out either James or Rudiger, I think, and get some, and release a bit of cash that way. These Chelsea, after these next one or two games, their fixtures really do turn. Even after this game, it's probably, it's pretty fair to say after this next game, and they start this run of away games, and they're tough games. I think we can afford to maybe start looking to get off Chelsea, and maybe look at the next teams. We've already talked about United and West Ham and Watford. If you're a fixtures person like I am. Mohammed asks, should I bench Livramento or Lamptey? Brighton this week against Wolves. So Wolves without Jimenez, they're also missing Neto, one or two others as well. If the game kind of goes ahead, I think I would be tempted to play Lamptey. If there's ever, I think we mentioned it last night on Green Arrow. If there's ever a game that's got 0-0 written all over it, it is Brighton and Wolves this week. Watch it be something like 3-0 now, due to all the issues and stuff. But I would probably play Lamptey first there, Mohamed, and bench Livramento. Sam DT, thinking of transferring Sancho and Brownhill for Jota and Foden, but that leaves me with 5 playing mids and Omaba mid-daily, the only obvious bench. Is it worth it? I think it might be. I think if you don't have Jota this week, I like Liverpool and City's fixtures stretch on and on, right? I would be tempted to kind of do that. I wouldn't worry about having a big squad. I think we want big squads, like we say. I've already mentioned, I really think over these next few weeks we're going to see more and more postponements, and even if we don't see postponements, we will see individual players getting COVID, or having positive tests. So the bench is, what you don't want to do in every single week is this exactly what we're doing now, right? Is taking hits, completely changing your team to get 11 players out every week. Even if we do have a game postponed or a couple of players are out, a couple of highly owned popular players are out, you can lean on your bench rather than have to, just have to make do with crap off your bench, or having to take hits just to get 11 players out. I just don't really feel it. Had some questions about strikers. Lacazette. I don't think Lacazette is that bad an option. So Aubameyang was stripped of the captaincy. The only problem with Lacazette is I think he'll play this week. I think it's been confirmed he'll play this week. Will Aubameyang have a bit of a fresh lease of life after that? I just worry for Lacazette's minutes. But I would say 8.3 million if he keeps his place. I think he could be really, really good value. Probably be on penalties as well. And I really like him as a player. He's never had a chance at Arsenal to be their number one. I think all the time he's been there. So I think he could be a decent option. I would just be a bit concerned for his minutes. David Scott asks, have you seen any updates on Shalabah? The only update I saw earlier, I think he was upgraded to 50% chance of playing. If you're on about the Chelsea player there, David, 50% chance of playing. So sounds like he'll be back very, very soon. Keza155, Gundo to Foden for a -4. So there are rumours of Gundo, maybe not travelling again. I'll just say these are rumours. They're just things I've seen on Twitter. Please take them with a pinch of salt. But rumours of Gundo not travelling, I don't know if he is or not. I'm not sure I'd do it for a hit though. I've got to be honest, just based on Twitter rumours. If it was a free transfer, maybe I'd be a bit more kind of willing. A hit, I'd be, I don't know. I'm not, I'm not really sure about that. Akbar Badri, best sub 11 million midfielder, Raheem Sterling. If I had the money, I'd go for Sterling this week. I mentioned him last week. Scored the pen. He looks on it. He looks on it at the moment, Sterling, and he's playing furthest forward, or one of the furthest forward, lightning quick on the break. I fancy Sterling. He's got this knack of winning penalties. He takes penalties when Gundogan and Mahrez are not on the pitch. I really like it. I'm massively up for Sterling. I wish I could get to him easily, which I can't. But maybe if I did have the funds, I'd go to Sterling instead of someone else. Abdelali, Pukki versus Villa. Yeah, Pukki's stats have been good. I saw a stat earlier that he's taken more shots in the box than anyone in the league, apart from Salah, Ronaldo, and whoever else, over the last 4 games. It's just this Norwich, and Villa have been quite decent at the back, even though it is rumoured that both Martinez and Konza have COVID. Don't know how true that is, but Villa have improved. Norwich have improved. I can see that being a bit of a stalemate later on. I can't get excited with Pookie. I think he's best out of a bad bunch. Same as Watkins. I just can't get excited with these players. I'd rather kind of use my transfers in more exciting areas of my team. Maybe Dennis as well. I went for King over Dennis. And obviously Dennis owners won last week, but I'm definitely looking at over the next kind of 6 or 7 game weeks. But even double up on the Watford strikers is is not out of the question because they just keep scoring goals. Alex Richards, should I keep Rafinha or bring in Jota? I personally, Alex, I would bring in Jota 100%. I think he's going to cause some damage this week. I've got my vice captaincy on him. I think over these next 2 games or 3 games, so they've got Newcastle, Spurs away, and then Leeds at home. I think Jota is going to cause damage. I would get him in if you haven't got him already. FPL Nimfree, the wonderful name. Hello, co-host. I'm considering doing Foster to Guaita and Liverett to Arsenal defence for a -4. Think Southampton struggle to keep a clean sheet. Happy to wait on Bowen till after Arsenal. I understand kind of waiting on Bowen, and I think I would wait on Bowen if Livramento was fit. I think I'd wait on Bowen as well. But I kind of want to make that move anyway at some point, and it gives me 11 playing players this week. I just watch Guaita. I know there's only 38 minutes now until the deadline. There was a rumour he was injured. He hurt his finger. I'm not sure if that's right. I just can't get excited with the Palace defence. I know Anderson is back now. I know it looks like they've improved, but they even conceded to Everton. And a lot of Guaita owners get left frustrated quite a lot because he does tend to concede quite late on in games. As you can see, I'm going for Ramsdale. I'm quite excited to have him in. And what else is it? Liver to Arsenal defensive cover for -4. Best of luck with that name. Really hope it works out for you, so that when we do our video next week, you're not crying on my shoulder when Ramsdale saves a pen and pulls off a nice 15-pointer. Ryan Richards, my bench is rubbish. Tony, Archer and Simicast. None are playing. I've got to transfer. Have you got Simicast? How have you got Simicast, right? What's going on there? You haven't played this game week 3. I'm going to transfer Cancelo out and bring in Bowen, then bring Cancelo back in regardless of what Bowen does. Ryan, I would think again, buddy. I would think again there. I wouldn't be transferring out Cancelo and bringing him back personally. It's just a waste. It's a waste of transfers. Personally, I would just go Tony down to a Watford striker, either King or Dennis, and leave it there. Apologies for having a bit of a giggle. I just saw that is a rubbish bench, Tony. Ryan, yeah. No, I wouldn't be happy with that either. Ross Johnson, good evening, Ross. Do you think the Brighton United game will go ahead? Surely it can't. So I've heard they may be back in training either today or tomorrow, but I can't see how it can either. It's the same as unless they get enough negative tests in the next 4 days, I'd be amazed if it goes ahead. I'd be surprised. I probably wouldn't let it sway you on your transfers either way, personally, because even if it goes ahead, we don't know, for example, that Ronaldo may be one who's had a positive test. If we're talking about Ronaldo, De Gea maybe with a positive test. We have no idea who these are, so I don't know. I'd be amazed if it's on. Seems that it's just on in 4 days personally, but especially because it got cancelled, right? So for the match to be postponed this week, there must have been something wrong. The only other thing I would say, and Ben Crellin confirmed this on Twitter, is that because neither Man United or Brighton play next midweek, it could be pushed out into the midweek and stay in game week 18. So just maybe bear that in mind. But this is pure speculation. We have absolutely no idea. Emma asks, can only play 2 of Antonio, Watkins and Dennis. Fergie, what do you think? I think out of those ones, I would probably play, oh goodness me, Watkins, yeah, I'd probably play Watkins this week. Even though not excited for him in the long term. And then Dennis or Antonio. I think on form you might have to go Dennis, but it's a tough one. Antonio away to Arsenal. Yeah, I think I'd bench Antonio. Emma saying how sad am I? He's actually sat in my team, looking at me, laughing at me. Had him since game week 1. The absolute swine. Faddy asks, hi Fergie, great follower from the States. Hello there, Faddy. Brownhill and Ronaldo for Jota and who is the big question. There's just no one to get excited about at the moment in that forward line. They just all they just there's just no good options at the moment. I just can't get excited. I'd maybe be tempted maybe by Lacazette for the next 3 games. West Ham, Leeds and Norwich. If he plays all 3, I don't know, but all this either him or Dennis. If you don't have Dennis already, it's probably it's probably a great shout. But apologies, Faddy. I'm really starting to get excited for any of the forwards. If there's a way of of getting Sterling in, maybe, but I would definitely get in Jota, as you say. He could go big this week. Neil Marsh, currently 1.5 mil. What's a realistic target to aim for? Is it 250k? And Neil, I think you get higher than that. Honestly, we're less than halfway through the season. I wouldn't worry, I wouldn't panic. We still got a load of double game weeks and whatever else. So at this point last season, I'm not sure exactly where I was, but I was roughly where you are. I think I had that most awful start to the season. I didn't have Salah captain in game week 1. I didn't have Salah game week 1 when he banged that hat-trick against Leeds. So after like 4 or 5 game weeks, I was like 4.5 million, and I finished about 47k. So there, you can still do it. All I would say is just play sensibly, still, and and you will see your rank rise organically. This is the period of time now where people panic, people make crazy transfers, people take masses and masses of hits, and they get their team into hell of a mess. Just try and get 10 or 11 decent players every week, and you'll be fine. Don't overthink it. Don't take loads of hits. Play sensibly, Neil. I really think you can still get a top 100k finish, but you won't do it by swinging from the hip and and making all crazy punts. Quinn said Antonio's not scored in 7 weeks. Agree, Quinn. And it's this forever debate about he is going to score sometime, right? And he will go on a run of goals. He will. He's too good a player, not to. So just because he hasn't scored in his last 7 certainly doesn't mean he's not scoring his next 7. So the fixtures really, really improve after this Arsenal game. I do think FPL points are good as a metric in terms of indicators, but I also think you need to apply your own layer of discretion and experience and knowledge on top of it. And we know that Antonio will start scoring soon, right? He will. Humu, do you think Smith Rowe is fit? Haven't got the foggiest. Haven't got the absolute foggiest. Matt Wall, does anyone know the leaked Man City lineup? Need to know if Sterling and Jesus are starting. So Matt, the team I have seen, I'll just run through it again for those watching. Like I say, this is just something I saw on Twitter. I have no idea how true it is, so please don't come back and say you said this, you said that. I'll warn you in advance. It's just a Twitter rumor. But the team I saw was Edison goals, Zinchenko, Diaz, Laporte, Walker, and then it was KDB, Bernardo, Rodri, Sterling, Mahrez, and Foden. So to answer your question there, based on that leak, which is just a Twitter rumor, it doesn't look like that Jesus is starting, but it's purely based on a Twitter rumor. Godin asks, play Hwang or Lamptey? I would be tempted to play Lamptey there, Godin, I think, instead of Hwang. Hwang is very likely to play against Brighton, but he hasn't looked great. Wolves haven't looked great going forward. Jimenez is not there to set him up. Mohammed, thanks. Really enjoyed the content. ESR nailed. Should I upgrade to Foden? I have Bilva. Mohammed, I think if you can, and if you can do it for free, I think ESR to Foden is a pretty good move for these next 3 game weeks. Personally, I think I'd do that. And Quinn Barnett, just on Arsenal, also asks around Odegaard. he looks good. He's on set pieces as well. I think he could be a pretty good option, Quinn. A very much under the radar option. Then said I'd never write a comment again. I'm absolutely lost. Thinking -4 for Fernandez, the keeper, and Dallo to Sanchez and a defender. Few options. Just be careful because there were rumours earlier that Sanchez may be one of the players who has COVID. Or Brighton, we're not sure, and a defender, a few options. I'm not sure I don't know, I'm just not sure I'd be messing around there personally. Like Fernandez to Sanchez, it doesn't seem much, much of an upgrade. I'd personally try and get up to De Gea or Ramsdale if I were you. Saying that, I own them both, rightly or wrongly, but yeah, I'd be a bit wary there. Denny Kaká, Fergie, bring in some friends and do some humour talk on Pookie. Nothing wrong with Pookie. I just, his stats are really good, but Norwich just haven't looked that good. I'm hoping it turns out to be like, a bit of Jimenez, like Wolves stats at the start of the season were really, really good and they couldn't score a goal, and then all of a sudden their stats turned into reality and they started doing it. Matt says, thanks for lineup info. Matt, please take it with a pinch of salt. I'm just telling you what I've seen. I have no idea if it is true or not. Ionet says, play Antonio or Saka. I think out of those two, probably go for Saka. It's out of the two. I'm quite down because I'm saying to not play Antonio all the time. I haven't been in my team yet, but Antonio hasn't looked good. After this week, their fixtures do change. I'm really hoping this is the time when their fixtures change, so everyone starts to jump on these West Ham players now. But we will see. Just going to go through a few of the top transfers in and out. Dennis is the top transferred player in this week so far with 650,000 transfers. Ollie Watkins, 324,000. Conor Gallagher, unsurprisingly, after his incredible performance against Everton, 300,000. Bernardo Silva, another 300,000 transferred in for Bernardo. And Rudiger, after his marauding performance on the weekend, 192,000 transfers in. So they're the top 5 in. Top 5 out, Cancelo. I think the people taking out Cancelo are absolutely mad. You're mad. 500,000 transfers out. Are you crazy or what? He's only missing one game. He's been absolutely phenomenal this season, and he will continue to be phenomenal. Look at these fixtures for Man City after this week. So he misses Leeds. They then go Newcastle, Leicester, Brentford, Arsenal, Chelsea, Southampton, Brentford, Norwich, Tottenham, Everton. Are you mad? Cancelo is one of the best players, if not the best player in the game. You should not get rid of him. It was only a fortnight ago. Everyone's saying he's like the best player on the planet when he did that assist for Sterling. Anyway, Vardy has been taken out by 300,000 frustrated managers. That is a strange one. Daka could be one to look at in the coming weeks if Vardy does lose his place. Jimenez out of 255,000 teams, even though again he's all right. He's missing one game, but also Wolves fixes have turned. Tony out of 214,000. I can understand that one. And Ronaldo taken out of 200,000 teams as well. There's some very, very knee-jerky managers making these transfers based on 1 week's information. Ryan asks, thanks Fergie, Tony out for Watkins or King? Ryan, if you were to ask me, I'd probably go for King over Watkins personally. I just don't get the Watkins thing. Admittedly, their fixtures are pretty good the next, two. They then got Chelsea, they then got Leeds and Brentford. He could be okay. I just haven't seen enough of Watkins. I don't get the excitement, but I'm pretty sure he's going to be in my thoughts soon come game week 20 when they do embark on a fantastic run of fixtures. They go Leeds, Brentford, Man United, Everton, Leeds, Newcastle, Watford, Brighton and Southampton. So, he may be in my thoughts. I think it's potentially a little bit early. Quinn just asks thoughts on Daka. Yeah, I think we've got to leave it another week or two to see what happens with Vardy, but he looks sharp. He looks very, very good. So there's only 25 minutes left until the deadline. Please make sure now that you go in and confirm your transfers. Don't mess this up now after all the thought that's gone into this all day. 25 minutes left. I will stay online for another 5 minutes or so to answer just a few more questions. Thomas asks Bernardo or Foden. Tough one. It's again it's completely kind of form versus potential on this one. I think I'd be tempted with Foden over these next few. It's just this bloody ankle injury he's got. It seems to really, really hold him back. But I do think he starts 2 of the next 3. So I go for Foden. I think he's just got more attacking potential. But Bernardo is just in the form of his life. He's having so many shots. His curl in the top corner the other day was something else. Mio just asks, triple captain Salah. I'm not sure this week personally. I think if he plays, he could cause absolute damage and carnage. I would personally just wait, a bit later in the season. If it wasn't for COVID, I think he is a great option this week. I really, really would, but I'd just be a bit concerned about the COVID situation personally. Dermot says, should I keep Hwang or King? I would definitely personally keep King over Hwang for their long-term fixtures. And Sudanshu, should I get Bowen this week or Watkins? I've gone for Bowen. I think Watkins, fixtures do touch. I just want to see a little bit more personally from Watkins before I invest. Norwich and Burnley are pretty decent defenses now. And Jake Zeffert, do you think Jesus will play tonight? The lineup I've seen, leaked lineup on Twitter. I don't know if it's leaked. I don't know if it's correct or not. But he doesn't start in that when they have a front 3 of Mahrez, Sterling, and Foden. But I have no idea if it is right or not. Thomas asks Watkins or Antonio. I got Antonio on my team. I shouldn't be saying Watkins. I think I just err on the side of Antonio, Thomas, and then maybe bring in Watkins in 3 or 4 game weeks time when we've seen a bit more. Jack says what to do with Vardy. Tough one, Vardy. I really feel sorry for Vardy owners. What a lesson next year. They go Spurs, then Everton, then City, then Liverpool. It's a tough one. I think I would just hold at the moment for these next 2 games, just because of lack of alternatives. I just think there's just so few alternatives for strikes at the moment. Spurs have been poor, Everton have been poor. I'd probably just hold these next 2 and then kind of reassess. And it could just be a move. A move on to Daka maybe. Michael Evans, King or Dennis? I mean, what a question. I went with King last week. I'm stuck with King. If you were to ask me right now, I still think I would go with King, just because Dennis looks like he's going to be off to AFCON in 3 or 4 game weeks' time. I think they're pretty much 50-50, in terms of who does what in the games. Dennis scored a header off a corner that was won after King hit the post. I mean, it's just... swings are massive, so I think I'd go for King as a long-term hold, because he's very likely going to play more games than Dennis over the next 6 or 7 game weeks. Johnny A asks thoughts on Villa defence. I really like Matty Cash. He is on 4 yellows apparently, but even if he misses 1 game, it's not the end. He's very, very attacking. He's very, he shows great intensity. He's very aggressive. He gets forward. I like Matty Cash. I think he's someone I may be looking at as well. When I look to downgrade either Reece James or Rudiger, I think that Villa defender is probably something I'll be looking at. I do like the look of Cash. Harry just asked quickly thoughts on Mount. I think Mount's a good option, but Chelsea's fixtures do stiffen after this week. Just answer a couple more questions. I can see just a couple of questions on Ronaldo. So for those who didn't see earlier around Ronaldo, my kind of thing with Ronaldo, if you can get out a decent 10 or 11 without taking Ronaldo out this week, I'd probably leave him in for this week. If you're really struggling, if you're down to kind of 6, 7, 8 players, I would be very, very tempted to get rid of Ronaldo and spread your funds across the team personally. But I do think there could be value if you can hold on to Ronaldo. I think there's value in potentially holding him just to see what happens next game week. Okay, that is going to be it from me for this week. Was it 21 minutes left until the deadline? Please make sure that you go in and make your transfers. Don't forget, and above all this week, right? Above all this, it could be a tough week, right? In terms of lineup news, in terms of players suddenly not starting. Don't worry, just have fun with it. If it doesn't happen this week, it doesn't matter. Everyone's in the same boat. Just try and enjoy the football. Try and enjoy the game week the best you possibly can. Just don't worry. And the timer isn't wrong, Harry. The timer isn't wrong because the deadline has been pushed out. 20 minutes. Yes, it has, hasn't it? It's been pushed out 20 minutes because of the postponed Brentford and Man United game. Okay, if you have enjoyed this stream, please, before you go, please press the like button. I would be really appreciate it if you could press like if you have enjoyed it. Drop me a follow on Twitter too, just under my hand here at FFH_Fergie. I've been doing a few spaces, Twitter spaces, which, you know, if you do follow me, you may enjoy. We had a massive crowd earlier. We had over 1,000 people on the Twitter spaces. It was absolutely incredible fun, very interactive, really good. So I'll be doing more of those, over the winter, over the festive period as well. They're just kind of, ad hoc sort of live chats on Twitter where anyone can come in and just have a chat. So just follow me on Twitter. I'll be doing more and more of those. If you haven't subscribed to this channel yet, please do so in the bottom right hand corner of the screen now. Click the subscribe button. And also press like if you haven't already. Our handles on Twitter, Instagram and TikTok are at FFH_HQ. Thank you so much, FPL Meg or Mage. Greetings from Serbia. Really hope things are going well over there for you, FPL Mage. Our website is fantasyfootballhub.co.uk, where you will find everything you need for fantasy football and fantasy Premier League, all under one roof, including player comparison tools, the fixture ticker, Opta stats, top player team reveals, points prediction tools, and much more. To join the tens of thousands of other fantasy managers and sign up to the hub, choose all our amazing resources. Click the top link in the description below. You will not regret it, we promise. Christian says, salutations from Sweden. I hope things are going well over there, Christian. So I'm based in Wales, and it looks like we might be having some more restrictions put on us this weekend. Hopefully it's not going to be too bad. Very quickly, Frozen, will you take a -4 for a keep when you've taken a -8 just last week? Frozen, it depends. I wouldn't take out De Gea, but I'd be tempted, as I've done. I've taken out Foster for Ramsdale. I hope that helps. I wouldn't take a hit to take out De Gea, personally. Hope that helps. FPL Hogmeister, thank you, and best of luck to you too. I'll be back just before the game week 18 deadline. Have a game week. Have a game week. Have an amazing game week 17. I say this every week, but it's becoming more and more prevalent every week now. Stay safe, please stay safe, yourselves and your family. Really hope that you enjoy the game week, enjoy the football for what it is, and may all your arrows be green. Goodbye for now. Oh.